We are currently studying masechet megillah daf yud gimel. You're starting 8 lines from the top. Rabbi Shimon ben Pazi ki hava posach b'divrei yamim ha'omar hochi. When you would start with divrei yamim, you would say like this: Kol dvarecha echad hem. Everything about divrei yamim. Divrei yamim is a book of names, all the yuchsin from all the way up to Adam and Eve. Yuchsin means the lineage, the Jewish lineage. So there's many names in Divrei Yamim, and he said that all the names actually mean one thing. We're going to see what that means exactly in a second. It says in Divrei Yamim, V'ishto ha'Yehudiya yalda et Yered, his wife, the Yehudiya, okay? Talking about Caleb. Caleb and Yoshua ben Nun were one of the 12 spies that they did not talk Lashon B'nai about Eretz Yisrael, and they were pro-living in Israel. So Yoshua ben Nun became a leader of Israel, and Caleb was a big tzaddik who was zocheh. He got the city of Hebron, like the Gemara Sota says, and he was heavily rewarded. So it says, Ishta Yehudiya, his wife, the Yehudiya, Yalda et Yered, she gave birth to Yered, Avi Gdor, okay, another name, Vet Chever Avi Sochor, and another name, Vet Yekutiel Avi Zanoach, all these people are Bnei Bitya Bat Paro Shelakach Maret. These are all the kids of the daughter of Paro, who married Mared. So, tons of names. Who is she? If she's a daughter of Paro, why is she called Jewish? Why is she called Yehudiya? So here we go, the Gemara will explain. I might call her Yehudiya. Why was the daughter of Paro, yes, called a Yehudiya? Makes no sense. Why would she be called Yehudiya? We all know the story of Bas Paro. She saved Moshe Rabbeinu when he was a baby out of the lake. Her hand extended and she pulled him into she pulled him into shore. So, the Gemara says, why was she called Yehudiya? Says the Gemara, al shum shekafra b'avodah zarah, because she went against avodah zarah. Dichti v'tirei bat paro lechutz alei or. Rabbi Yochanan she'avda lechutz b'gilui beis aviyah. She went against the avodah zarah of her father Paro. Yalda, as the Gemara, did she give birth to him? B'gilui Rabbi say she only adopted Moshe Rabbeinu. She never gave birth to him. Lomar lecha shekol megadim yotom yotoma b'toch beito ma'alei l'kazub kilu yaldo. Now it says that Moshe Rabbeinu's name was Yered. So it says the Gemara, Yered is a Moshe. Rabbi Yochanan Yered, Shiarad lahem Israel man biyamav, because he brought down the man from the sky, the manna. He was the reason, the cause for all this. Like the Gemara Masechet says, Gdor. Why was his name Gdor? Shegedal Pezutz Shel Yisrael. He made sure that people wouldn't do averos. Cheber shechiber et Yisrael lavin shebashamayim. He connected the Jews to God. Suchol shenaseh lam Yisrael kesukah. He was a sukkah for the Jews, protected them from evil. Likutiel shekivu Yisrael le'el biyamav. He also davened for the Jews and made sure God would respond to the Jews in his times. Zanoach sheizneach avnesen shel Yisrael. What does Zanoach mean? Zanoach means to get rid of. He got rid of the sins of Israel. Kiviyachol with his davening. Now, why was he called Avi 3 times? So there's three different aspects of fatherliness in him. First of all, Av b'Torah. Second of all, Av b'Chachma. He's the smartest. And then Av b'Nevius. It says later in the pasuk, Veilu b'nei Bitya asher lakach mered. As a Gemara, Mered Shema Galu Kaleb Shema. His name was Kaleb, not married. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Yavo Kaleb Shemarad B'atzad Meregli Beisa Et Bat Paro Shemarda Begiluli Beis Aviyah. The reason why they got married, why the zivug was matim, because they both went against others. That's why he was called the Mered. Asher said, now go back to the megillah. It says about Mordechai. Asher Hagla Yerushalayim. What is Hagla? Shel Nigla. Shem said, Amar Roveh Shegolo Me'atzmui. It means that he left from his own volition. He wasn't thrown out of Israel. He chose to leave Eretz Yisrael to be in Babel with the Jews. It says that he took upon himself Hadassah. It says the Gemara, who's Hadassah? Hadassah is Esther, right? So why was she called Hadassah? So Kavila Hadassah Kavila Esther. Tanya Rabbi Omer, Esther Shema. Her real name is Esther. Rabbi Shema Hadassah al Shem HaTzadikim Shenikru Hadassim. Because she was a tzadikis, so she was called a Hadass, which is a plant. וכן הוא אומר, והוא עומד בין ההדסים. רבי יהודה אומר, הדסה שמה, her real name was הדסה. אבל נקרא שמה אסתר, השם שהייתה מסתרת דבריה, שנאמר אסתר מגדת את עמה, because she used to hide. Esther is to like hide. She hid from Paro, from Achashverosh, where she was born. רב נחים אומר, הדסה שמה, her real name was הדסה, אבל נקרא שמה אסתר, שהיו אומות העולם קוראים אותה על שמה אסתהר. So, Because she had a very good smell to her, Rashi says, because she had a very good smell to her, that's why they were calling her Esther. Esther is istahal, it's a good smell. Rabbi Shimon Kocho Amar, Esther Yerak Roket Heta, Chut Shel Chesed Mashuk Alea. Rabbi Shimon ben Kocho says, actually, just like a hadas is a green flower, green plant, so too was hadas, was Esther. She was also green. You guys ever watched the movie Shrek? So she was like the Shrek lady. What was her name? Fiona, I believe, if I remember correctly. So she was green. Yeah, the Shrek movie really happened. It was the megillah Esther. So then why did everyone want to be with her? Why was she so attractive? Right? Shrek isn't the best looking woman, man in the world. Says the Gemara, Esther, she had a chesed to her. She had something like some spiritual connection that made her loved in the eyes of everybody. Now, we're talking a little bit about Esther's background, her biography. So, Kien La'aven, it says that she had no father or mother. And then it says again, so again she had no father or mother. What's the chiddush? Lamali, Omar Avocho, Ibalta Metavia. When her mother got pregnant, her father died. And when Yoladeto, when she gave birth, her mom died. So she never ever saw her father or mother. Okay. Mordechai took her as a daughter. So what is the daughter? Daughter is literal, or what does daughter really mean? Really, he took her as his wife. Talking about the story of Bathsheba, that her husband was killed in battle. Uriah Hittite was killed in battle, and Uriah Hittite was with Bathsheba when they were together before he was killed, before King David had him killed. So what did the Torah says that Uriah Hittite slept with her, and she was his daughter. So what do we see from here? There's no way that he slept with her and she was his daughter. That's impossible. What it means is that she was his house, bayit. Like one of our Shabbos Kubitat says that your wife is called your house, because that's where the woman is supposed to be. Woman belongs in the house. She runs the home. So that's why a lot of times in the Gemara, guys, you'll see that the word house is referenced to your wife, or the wife. Now it says that Esther had 7 different slaves, workers. So each girl served her for a different day. That they gave her a difference, a shinui. They gave her machadudi. Esther ate kosher food when she was in the palace. So really, she was fed pieces of pig. She was fed zeronim, I believe, are certain lentils. I think lentils. So we see that tzaddikim eat zeronim. So she was tzaddikas, so she also ate zeronim. Shisha chodashim Hashem namor. Ma Hashem namor? Rab Chiba Rab Omar satkas. Satkas is a type of oil. Ravune Amar shemen zayit shel Levi shlish, which is also very, very good oil. Tanya Rabbi Omer an pakinon shemen zayit shel Levi shlish. So this is the kind of oil that didn't bring a third, that hasn't had passed its third of harvest. And I was like, what do we use this? What is this oil used for? It gets rid of hair. A hairy woman is gross, so women use this to get rid of their hair and to have a clean, better skin. That's why she was given all these products before she was with Achashverosh. What does this mean? He only would be with Esther only in the nighttime, not in the daytime. So you see that even though he was a gross Russia, we see that he had a good hanhaga. He would only be with women at nighttime, not in the daytime. But he Esther nosetchen. What does this mean? The Gemara says here a very, very interesting thing. The Gemara says that a man, this is before we had iPhones and internet, where men had easy access to all kinds of women. In the older days, you were raised in a certain area. You got to see the girls of that area. You didn't have any access to other girls from anywhere else. So your brain naturally you were attracted to the girls that you saw. So if I were to show you a black girl or an Asian girl, right, and you were, let's say, surrounded by white people or by people that aren't Asian, then you wouldn't find the women of that city attractive. So there was a miracle that happened to Esther. Whenever anybody saw her, she appeared like the girls from their village. she had that same effect. Sorry, we didn't just read that. Okay, next piece. So why were they together in Chodesh Teves? Teves is the dead middle of winter. It's the month where the body enjoys the other body, where intercourse is at its best because it's very cold outside, so the body, you really feel the other person. So it says he loved her more than women and more than the virgins. What does this mean? If you wanted to taste the taste of a virgin, he got that from Esther. And if you want to taste of a married woman, he also got from Esther. So she gave him all the needs a man needs from a woman during intercourse. So what was he doing? Achashverosh wanted to know where was Esther born. What was her lineage? Where did she come from? Was she Jewish, Greek, Persian? What was she from? And she still wouldn't tell him. He took off the taxes and still she wouldn't tell him. He sent presents to everybody and still she wouldn't tell him. So then what did he do? He started being with other women on top of it. Why? What does this mean? He asked Mordechai what to do. A woman only gets jealous when her husband is with other women. So we see that Esther, even though he was with other women, still she didn't agree to tell him where she was born. What does it mean in the verse? It says the Gemara, because she was so tznius, Rachel was so tznius, that's why Shalom Melech came from her. And since Shalom Melech was so tznius, Esther comes from Shalom Melech. Ask the Gemara, what was the tznius of Rachel? Yaakov Avinu said to Rachel that he is the brother of Lavan, her father. Ask the Gemara, wait, this isn't true. He's not the brother of Lavan. His mother is a sister of Lavan. So he's going to be the nephew of Lavan, not the brother of Lavan. He said to Rachel, marry me please. She said, yes, but my father is a tricky man and you're not going to be able to get me. If he does any games with me, I'll give with him back. Are you allowed to do such a thing? If somebody is gross to you, you're allowed to be gross back to them, even if you're a tzaddik. What is he going to do? I have a sister that's older than me. He's not going to marry me until she gets married. What did he do? What did Yaakov do to make sure this didn't happen? He passed her simanim. When the night of the chuppah came, now my sister's going to get embarrassed. So what happened? She passed the simanim to her sister. That way, Yaakov wouldn't recognize him under the chuppah who he was marrying. We see in the morning this, and it was Leah. What mean in the morning? Since she didn't recognize, since the Yaakov had no way of knowing at nighttime because the simanim that he was given were simanim for Rachel and not for Leah. So only in the morning when he could see, did he recognize, oh my God, this is my wife, this is Leah. That's why that's why Rachel merited to have a son, one of her very great grandson, being Shalom Melech, since she was so tznius in the way she acted. Okay, next piece. What was the tznius about Shalom Melech? Because when he came back home, Shalom Melech, when he was anointed as king from Shmuel Navi, he went back home to his father and he didn't tell him a thing. He acted as if he was a normal person. He didn't act like a king. So that's a very tznius thing to do. It's a very modest thing to do. God, when God gives Gdula to somebody, all of them, all his kids, great grandkids, all of them always are zochel for the same very Gdula. But if a person gets arrogant, the previous verse said that if somebody is arrogant, what happens to them? They become humbled. What was the ma'amar of Mordechai that Esther was doing? She was showing the blood to the rabbis. dam nida. Yes, there's certain bloods that are metame a woman and certain bloods that are matar. Like the Gemara Masechet Nida Daf Zayin says. So she was showing Mordechai her blood to confirm that she wasn't a nida. Kasher hoisum ba'amana ito. What does this mean? Omar bar lema. Bishvei darav shetam obedet bechiko shel Achashverosh v'tobedet v'yoshet bechiko shel Mordechai. It means that she was with Achashverosh. Then she would go back to being with Mordechai and back and forth and back and forth. Now, how is this allowed? Once a woman cheats on her husband, she's not allowed to be with her husband. Hane Mile only when she cheats berotzon, but if she cheats be'oines, if she's forced into it, it's not begeder cheating. It's not begeder eshasish, and it's okay. She can go back to her husband. Now, what's interesting here is that she would be with Achashverosh and then go to mikvah. What was this mikvah? Nothing to do with Nida. What was this mikvah? Rashi says something very, very cool. Rashi says that she went to mikvah מחמת נקיות שלא תהיה מאוסה לצדיק בשחיתתו של אחשוורוש. To be clean, that way she wouldn't be gross in the eyes of Mordechai since she was with this vicious Russia, Achashverosh. Says the Gemara, so guys, we know the story about Bigtam and Teresh. Yes, Bigtam and Teresh were the two servants of Achashverosh. They were in charge of giving him water. So they planned to poison the water and kill Achashverosh. And Mordechai revealed this, he figured this out, and he told Esther to tell Achashverosh this. Achashverosh had been killed, and Achashverosh heavily rewarded Mordechai. He made him, what the Megillah says, made him one of the leaders. So it says, I think I lost my spot. Yeah. Okay, so I'm reading it again. God made the owner mad at his slaves to do the will of tzaddik. What was this? So we see that because since the leader, the Adon of Yosef tzaddik, got mad at him, Potiphar himself, got mad at Yosef tzaddik, he went to jail, and once he was in jail, that's how hard about him and got him out of jail. So it worked in his favor by the Adon getting mad at his slave. Avodim al adonein la'asot nes tzaddik. Where do we see the opposite effect? Where the Avodim were mad at their owners to do the will of the tzaddik. And then Mordechai figured it out. Now Big Teresh wanted to kill Achashverosh. There were people from Tarsi. They spoke the language called Tulsi. They were complaining that since Esther came over, Achashverosh was with her. They had intercourse so many times that he was very, very thirsty. So Achashverosh all the time needed water. So this water was required for him because after man's with a woman for many, many times, he's always thirsty. So he's constantly asking for water. By the way, guys, Bli Kasher, it says in the Arizal, in the book of Etz Chaim, Daf Kuf Yud Bet, it says over there that Esther didn't actually sleep with Achashverosh. She used one of the shemos of the shadim of demons, and she duplicated her body, her Yetzahara, Kiviyachol, which was a mamash body, and she sent her Yetzahara to be with Achashverosh. But her real body wasn't with Achashverosh at all. It's according to the Arizal. Yeah. Just wanted you guys to know. So let's continue. So they were complaining that they didn't get any sleep because they were constantly busy with Achashverosh. So what did they say? Bo benafli eres b'sefer kedushem. So they wanted to poison the water, that way Achashverosh would die. They didn't know that Mordechai was one of the people in Beis Din. And the people in Beis Din, people in Beis Din knew the Sadi languages. We don't work at the same hour, so how can we do it together? Because they needed to be together in order to do the poisoning. I'll be in both. I will wait in both my mishmar and your mishmar. Now we will both be together. What does it mean by motze? How do they realize that the Big Teresh were planning an attack? What does it mean? What is achav after these things? Since God made the refuah before he attacked the Jews. First he makes the cure and then he punishes. אבל אומות העולם אינו כן, מכה אותם מאחר כך בורא עולם רפואה. With Goyim, first he hits them and then he creates the cure. Shema, ונגוף השם את יצרים ונגוף ברפו. First נגוף then רפו. והיבז בינם לשלוח את מרדכי לבדו. So we're talking about Haman attacking Mordechai. So they're like, Haman Goven, והתחילו במרדכי. First he wanted to attack Mordechai, then ולאסוף בעם Mordechai. Afterwards he wanted to attack the nation of Mordechai, or the nation of Mordechai, and Rabbanon, the Talmud Chachams. ולבסר בכל היהודים. Afterwards he wanted to kill all the Jews. הפיל פור הוא הגורל. What does it mean, הפיל פור הוא הגורל? Tane. So this is the lottery that Achashverosh did. So the Gemara, Tana came to Nafal Pul b'chodesh Adar samachtim chagdolah. So guys, what happened? Achashverosh did two lotteries. He did a lottery of days from 1 to 30, and he did a lottery of months from 1 to 12. When his days landed on 7 and out of 30, and his months landed on the 12th month, which is the chodesh Adar. After Adar is Nisan, which is the first month. So it landed on Zayin Be'Adar. That's when the lottery landed. Zayin Be'Adar was the time where he decided to kill the Jews. Now, so I'm sorry, wait. I'm reading again. Tana. So it's a great day because it's the day when Moses died. But he didn't know that Moshe, in fact, also was born on Shiva Badar. Like the Gemara Kiddushin Daf Lamed Chet, I believe, says, where he was also born on Shiva Badar. He died on Shiva Badar, but also born then. Yesh Noy Am Echad. What does it mean, Yesh Noy Am Echad? So Haman was complaining in front of Achashverosh about the Jews. What was he saying? There's nobody that knows how to speak Lashon Hara better than Haman. He said to Achashverosh, let's get rid of the Jews. I'm scared of their God. Their God's a scary God. I don't want to mess with him. He stopped doing mitzvahs. The Jews stopped doing mitzvahs. God doesn't care about them. Like the Christians say, right? But wait, there's still Talmid Chachams though. Even though there's many Rashas, there's still a portion that are Talmid Chachams. No, even Talmid Chachams, they've already lost it. Maybe you're scared I'm going to destroy your kingship. They're spread out. They're not a nation. Maybe you're going to say that, but your people, they use them for business. They're mefawad. What does this mean? They don't work. Maybe you say that there's a country that's made up of Jews. They're scattered and they're useless to the kingship. But what does it mean that their dat, their way of life is different than others? They don't buy our food. They don't marry our daughters. They don't give us their daughters. What does that mean? What does this mean? It's Rashi tables for on Shabbos and Yom Tov and Pesach. They don't work. They always got chags. They've always got tons of chags. Chanukah, Purim, Pesach, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, and Kippur. They're always busy with stuff. They always have inyanim. They're not good business people. The king should not lead them. Why? They're disrespectful towards the king himself. Why? Because what happens? If you have a cup of water and a let's say a bee falls inside, you'll just throw out the bee and finish up the cup of water. That's halachically correct. But if a goy like you, Achashverosh, if you even touch the wine, it's other cup, they'll pour all the wine out. Why? Because the Gemara Masechet Vodazara says that yain, that you're not allowed to drink the wine of a goy. You're not only not allowed to drink the wine of a goy, even if a goy touches the wine, you're not allowed to drink it. Why? Because there's a chashash, we're worried that maybe the goy is going to have intention from Avodah Zarah, and the wine will be puzzle, will be yain nesech. So even touching the wine, if a goy touches your wine, guys, listen to the Lamaisa, Halach Lamaisa, Shulchan Aruch, it's Man Kuf Chaf Gimel, I believe. You're there. I'm not sure. It says there, and the Shulchan Aruch says, Halach Lamaisa for today, if a goy touches your wine, it's puzzle. You can't drink from it. If the king is good, give me 10,000 pieces of silver, and I'm going to kill the Jews using this money. I'm going to buy people, get people mercenaries to kill the Jews. It was known that Haman was going to do this. He was going to use money to kill the Jews. That's why God was marking our shekels to his shekels. That's why nowadays on Rosh Chodesh Adar we give the masechet shekel in times of Beis Hamikdash, and also we do kilayim. Rashi says, what is kilayim? Rashi look at the last Rashi of the Amud. Rashi says shegadlu azrein k'tzat v'nikar v'nitzan nikar or kilam misedotem ba'chrozas Beis Din declare that there won't be a mixture of a vineyard and other plants. So Beis Din tell you to pluck out the plant where there's no kilayim. When did they make this declaration? On Rosh Chodesh Adar. All right, let's continue. We're almost done. You can do whatever you want for the Jews. What is the comparison of Haman and Achashverosh? Like two people. A guy has a pile of dirt in his field. A guy has a charitz, is a hole. I would love to have this pile so I can fill my hole. Will give me a hole so I can get rid of my pile. Please sell me your pile so I can fill my hole. Take it for free. So what do we see, guys? Basically, the point of the mashal is that Achashverosh is the guy with the pile and Haman is the guy with the hole. They both were the same. They both wanted Mamash to kill the Jews. Don't defend Achashverosh and say, oh no, Achashverosh was a good guy, he just whatever, he was under the influence. No. Achashverosh and Haman were equally as bad. But Yosam it says that when Achashverosh removed his ring and gave it to Haman, that's a declaration that Haman could kill the Jews. Bar Kehana, Gdorah Hasos Tabas Yisem G'Amboim ושמונה נביאים ושמע נביאות שנסתנו לנו ישראל שכהן לא יחזירו למוטו ואילו עשו הסטבאס החזירוסן למוטו. But even one removal of a ring made all the Jews daven a lot do tshuva, and all the 48 neviim and the 7 neviot together still couldn't make all the Jews do tshuva. This one move of removing the ring got the Jews so stressed that they suddenly did tshuva. We just finished. This is the end of Masechet Megillah Daf Yud Gimel.